I'm joined now by a top member of the GOP leadership, House Majority Whip Tom Emmer of Minnesota. Good morning to you, Congressman. It's great to have you here this morning. You have been tapped to play Harris's running mate, your fellow Minnesotan there, Governor Tim Walz, in Senator J.D. Vance's debate prep. Can you tell us a little bit about how that's going and what your approach is?
Well, my job, I've known Tim, probably since he was first elected almost 20 years ago, and I worked with him directly for 4 years. I spent the last month just going back all of his old stuff to get his phrases down, his mannerisms, that sort of thing. My job was to be able to play Tim Walz so J.D. Vance knows what he's going to see.
What's a little different than how you're playing right now? A little more folksy? What is your vibe there?
Yeah, Tim's been a complete disaster in Minnesota, and what's happened is he's so good at being this folksy, nice, kind of down-to-earth guy until people get to know him and his policies. I don't know if you know this, but his old congressional district, where he played this character for several years of being kind of a folksy, ag-friendly outdoorsman, he lost it in both of his gubernatorial races. In the last one, almost by 10 points. He's not well-liked because once you get to know the real Tim Walz, he's like Gavin Newsom in a flannel shirt.
I know you've been saying things like that. So when you play him in a debate, what do? Have you had any mock debates yet? Have you actually played him for J.D. Vance?
Well, the debate is on Tuesday night, so I'll let your viewers decide that. I'm not going to get ahead of J.D. and the team. If they want to talk about exactly what we did, when we did it, how many times, they can do that. For me, I did my job, or have been doing my job, in helping J.D. see what it is he's going to be dealing with on Tuesday night. He's going to do a great job. I can tell you, he's got the issues on his side, Martha. He can talk about the economy that Donald Trump fixed and that Harris and Biden broke. He can talk about the border that Trump fixed and they broke. He can talk about peace and stability around the world, which they don't even have a clue. They've caused all of this disruption. And once he understands that Tim Walz is just going to try and deflect and go into this folksy whatever, he'll hold him accountable. I think J.D. will do a great job.
Well, let's talk about some specifics there. You say you think J.D. will do a great job. So far, Tim Walz's favorability ratings are higher than J.D. Vance. In fact, recent national polls found anywhere from 4 in 10 to 6 in 10 voters hold unfavorable views of J.D. Vance. So stop for just a moment with the criticism of Tim Walz and tell me what J.D. Vance has to do to change that favorability rating. That's an important rating.
First off, I know he's going to do a great job on Tuesday. But second, Martha, of course they want to focus on the Republicans. Let's talk about Tim Walz. I just told you he's not a popular guy in Minnesota. This guy, actually, Kamala Harris, once they just pushed Joe off the cliff and installed Kamala Harris, she instantly had a 10-point lead over Donald Trump. And guess what? It dropped by half and then by a little bit more after she added Tim Walz.
Let's go back to my question about J.D. Vance.
People get to know Tim Walz.
Let's go back to my question about J.D. Vance and those unfavorability ratings. Tim Walz's are higher than J.D. Vance. So J.D. Vance clearly wants to do something different to raise those favorability ratings. What does he do?
I think J.D. is very likable, and I think he's well-liked. And I don't buy into these snapshot polls that are being done for a specific reason. If you're not willing to agree that Tim Walz, once people get to know who he is and they know what his policies are, he's more radical than Kamala Harris. People do not like him once they get to know him, and J.D. will expose that on Tuesday.
Vance, of course, has consistently praised Donald Trump, talking about him often. Trump last night called Kamala Harris mentally disabled. He said that Joe Biden became that way. She was born that way. Do you think Kamala Harris is mentally disabled? Do you approve of that kind of language?
I think Kamala Harris is the wrong choice for America. I think Kamala Harris is actually as bad or worse as the administration that we've witnessed for the last 4 years, Martha. You got 20% inflation. You got the average family spending $1,200 more a month.
Congressman, do you approve of that language? Do you approve of that language? Donald Trump calling her mentally disabled, mentally impaired. So you don't approve of that. You don't.
I think we should. I think we should stick to the issues. The issues are Donald Trump fixed it once. They broke it. He's going to fix it again.
Okay, then let's talk about one of the issues, and one of the issues is, of course, migrants. I can't believe we're still talking about this, but the baseless claims elevated by Vance and Trump that Haitian migrants were eating their pets. You know that Mike DeWine, even governor of Ohio, said that is just simply not true. If the moderators in the debate ask Vance about this, should he finally make clear it is not true?
Such a distraction. The people in the mainstream media want to put up these shiny objects to distract people from what they see happening every day. The economy is not working for everybody. The border is wide open.
Vance and Trump have talked about this issue.
I'm telling you, you got to focus on the issues.
They will
focus on the issues.
You got to
focus on the issues. And the issues are very clear. Economy works under Donald Trump. It doesn't work under Kamala Harris. The border is sealed under Donald Trump, and crime is under control, and the border is wide open, and Kamala Harris is going into Minnesota trying to bail out rioters and people who are attacking policemen with a bail fund. The list goes on and on. It'll be a very clear contrast between J.D. Vance and Donald Trump's agenda versus what Kamala Harris is talking about. I don't know why you guys don't ask her about her price controls, about... I mean, she's been way to the left.
We do ask her about that, but I want to say Mary Bruce just reported that Harris announced down there on the border several immigration policies she'd pursue as president. Barring immigrants who illegally cross the border from re-entering the country for 5 years, enacting stricter criminal penalties for repeat offenders. Do you oppose those policies?
I'm going to tell you, do we believe her now? After she's had almost 4 years to solve the border crisis, and all she did was make sure that it was wide open. She never even bothered to go to the border until just this past week. And that's because this is one of the #1 issues in the campaign. Everyone knows that when Donald Trump was in office, the border was sealed. Everyone knows that since Kamala Harris has been in office, the border has been wide open. And it's not just people who are migrants who are trying to come to this country for a better life. It's criminals. It's gang members. Everybody knows that. It's terrorists, people on the terrorist watch list. Martha, this is too little, too late. Nobody can believe her because her actions have said something completely different for 4 years.
Okay, I can see this is going to be a very lively debate on Tuesday night. Thanks for joining us this morning, Congressman. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Martha.